Hey everybody, welcome to What the Flick. We're back.
Woo!
Ben, Meredith, Alonso. Okay, so there was traveling, there was a TCM festival, I was at the USA Film Festival in Dallas, so we're all here now. We have 3 episodes to catch up on. Season 6, episodes 4 through 6, Mr. and Mrs. Teacup, The Great Patriotic War, and Rafifi. Where to begin?
Well, coming off the TCM Film Festival, let's work backwards. Let's start.
There we go, all right.
Because when first of all, that guy who played the
film nerd?
Yeah, he was really
that's the son from Brad Status.
What's Brad Status?
Oh, the Ben Stiller movie. That
Right. Okay, so I know I'd seen him.
Yeah.
He's very good.
He is
like I mean, for like a
Austin
guy.
Abrams.
Yeah, really. I thought it was. I was like, this guy's gonna work the rest of his life. Right? This is he has a career here.
If he's this magnetic as a dupe on this show,
right.
you know he's
sad. But so I was. She's like, oh, French film, and I'm like, it's not really a French film. Oh, look. And then they said, wait, my wife was like, hey, just let them do their thing. Mr. Know-it-all. So I loved this episode. I felt as strongly about this episode. This was the best episode since the premiere of this season.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Which was nothing wrong with the ones in between.
It's all been good,
but I was having a debate with one of my closest friends. Who's like, enough, I can't handle like enough smoldering looks, start killing people. But the previous episode, we got killing.
Yes.
Which was also compelling stuff.
Well, I mean, for me, what this season really kind of boils down to is just, it's all about Philip and Elizabeth.
Right.
And I love, for example, when she has sex with him to get him to go to Greece, and it's like, oh my God, you're spy stuffing him.
Right, and you don't. The great thing about the show is that when the moment that it happens, you're like, I mean, my wife was like, oh no, I need to use that on you. She's like, and we're both like, oh look, they're reconnecting.
No. I could tell immediately. She wants something.
Yeah,
what I like is that I didn't because both things are possible.
Sure,
they do have an intensely connected relationship, or have at times. So, and then in the morning when she was like, and I was like,
yeah.
That's right.
But that's so good that like you fell for it.
Yeah,
where
totally.
I'm like, damn it, Elizabeth, come on! I always root for you, but this season, not right now.
No, she's awful.
Yeah,
she's awful.
But again, it's sort of like what's also interesting is this notion of like, who's giving the instructions, and obviously it was really clear cut for a very long time. Like the government for the most part was sort of speaking with one voice. The party had one objective, and now you have these factions, and like he's taking orders from one faction, she's taking orders from another faction, and so that's where it's all starting to fall apart. Mike, I have a question just about stupid kind of logistics. If the travel agency is their cover job, if they were like in debt, wouldn't the Soviets like create some shell company to like get some money their way?
Can they say, I need $9,000 to pay for my kid's school?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Maybe not for the private school, but at least like I got to pay off this loan to make the office bigger.
Maybe maybe the inference would be when he stopped working.
It became his.
That's true. Yeah. This is now yours.
Yeah.
Although technically it's still part of her cover.
Yeah, because they use the whole story about her going to Houston over Thanksgiving.
She barely is in the office.
Yeah.
So I want to make a video that is not this video where we debate. Do you watch Homeland?
Yes.
Right. Who's a worse mom? Right? Wouldn't that be pretty good?
Which kids are going to need more therapy later?
Because I think it's Elizabeth now. But
really? I think I'm still Team Carrie on that one. But
this season, though, so we finally.
Actually, you know what? We should we'll bring my wife in for that one. She has a lot to say.
Okay, I'm sure we need an expert here. Chrissy doesn't watch TV, so.
Henry's back, and I like Henry. He's like, come on, Dad, what's going on? Fess up. There's some problems going on here. And
I like that Henry has no relationship with his mom at all.
Yeah.
Because I said during the show, I go, you think they've spoken while he's been at St. Edward's?
She even says he's your responsibility.
It's your responsibility, right? She said
she's grooming Paige.
Right, that's your department. That's right. Henry is your department.
It's just so weird to see how detached Elizabeth has become. Like her only, she's married to the job. Her family is the job. And she, the whole grooming Paige thing, but then going after the guy that Paige slept with,
what do we take to? So she's obviously there's some introspection going on.
Yeah.
Because she drew, right? I mean, I don't know what the drawing is supposed to be, but it's definitely supposed to be something, and she picked up the thing and she was drawing, and she knows that, and she called, I guess, Henry because she recognizes that
She
might
could die on this one, yeah.
She could die, and I guess are they gonna, or they might have to kill that guy. Like, I mean, that's the other great thing about them is that, like, she says to Philip, you know, I got to go help. We got to help somebody. He's under surveillance. We got to get him out because somebody's still doing their job, right?
Yeah.
But but when Margot Martindale said to her,
he can't be arrested.
He can't be arrested. That to me meant
either extricate him or eliminate him.
Yeah,
So
then you got to shoot him in the head.
Then why if he's part of the whole Mexico job, why doesn't he have a cyanide pill to take?
That may be a little plot hole.
Sorry,
We've
I was just
uncovered.
like,
maybe it's not as deep for
Yeah,
him. Maybe he
that's
was not
true.
given it one.
Yeah, because I mean, my impression is he's sort of the Chicago them.
Yeah.
Or quite other things, like they think he's great, he's fine. They think, Elizabeth, we know you'd take the cyanide pill.
Right.
We're not
so sure.
We're not so sure that he would take the cyanide pill. So I could buy that, but for all her preaching to Philip about loyalty, in the end, she might shoot this guy in the head, like this.
But that's still part of the job.
Yeah,
I got it, but you can't make an argument that like her argument was the Marines. We never leave a man on the battlefield unless we have to shoot that man on the battlefield to protect ourselves. Sure, I've got it. It is part of the job.
Yeah, this version is we never leave somebody who might, turn us all in.
But we all know if the roles were reversed and the Chicago guy was like, hey, it's part of the job, Philip, you're a liability, Elizabeth would kill that guy.
Right.
So, I mean, obviously there are limits.
Do we still think Stan's girlfriend is a spy?
I do.
Yes.
I do. I didn't, I did, and then I didn't, and then I did, and then I didn't, and then I did, and then I didn't, and now I'm on did.
Yeah, well, because she's taking a pay cut to go work at the FBI.
Yeah, and she's getting like help from the friends to get in there.
Just framing of looks in this episode too. Just the way she shot and the way she turned around, like, and then I was thinking, why would there's a totally valid reason why they'd put her there. Like we think we've bought into the coincidence of they end up living across the street from an FBI agent, which was clearly like, oh my God, how did this happen? Who's working on counterterrorism?
That was the inciting incident of this show, really.
So it would make sense then for the center to think, we need to figure out a way to watch that relationship.
Yeah.
Like these people are too valuable, so we're going to send somebody else in to watch, to monitor that relationship, and it worked out as perfectly as they could. So. Yes, I think she is.
Okay.
And I think she is going to reveal herself in incredibly dramatic fashion.
Now, maybe this is just me forgetting a thing that happened in season 4, but who's the woman that confronts Oleg?
That's
who's Tatiana?
She's his old girlfriend.
Yeah, she worked in the center, and she was like fast tracked to be like resident gentera there.
She was going to Cuba, somewhere, or Israel, or something. She had a posting set. And
then did he turn her in or something?
Yeah, he had the tapes. He had like audio recordings of her.
Oh,
her. Yeah.
Okay, I do.
And he, I mean, I had to remind myself of all this stuff, but he foiled her. It was her operation that he spoiled because he thought it was dangerous.
Yeah.
Maybe even the one of the satellites. Where he was like, we could get him an accidental nuclear war because our technology is so bad, and so the Americans need to know this. So I'm not sure if that was the exact one that he spoiled, but he screwed things up for her, and so she.
Okay.
But of course, as we now know, that was all for show. She's not really mad at him.
No.
Yes,
it was all designed to
get information,
to learn more, and we don't even know where she is on this because. Arkady, her former boss, is on the Oleg side, and the guy who replaced him, he also might be on the Oleg side, or he's in the we've got to stop Gorbachev
the Mexico side,
the Mexico, It's the Mexico side and the Gorbachev side, right? Man, it's complicated.
It is. And not a lot left to go.
Paige, of course, like. Again, we've always talked about how deep down this is a show about immigrant parents and what they want for their children, and so. Her being, on the one hand, being groomed by Elizabeth, but at the same time, Elizabeth being terrified of subjecting her to like the darkest parts of this. And it was interesting, there's that scene where they all get drunk and she starts talking about her first time and stuff. And I almost thought that Elizabeth was gonna talk about being raped, and then she doesn't.
Yes.
Right.
You know, and
Right,
but
made it a cute story.
Exactly. But that's clearly a thing, I think, for her in terms of trying to protect Paige from the worst of this.
But she can't protect her from the worst of it. I mean, that's why she's a worse mom than Carrie, because she has put her in this situation which is unknowable. You can't, you know, again, she revealed her tactics in that bar. She beat the guy, you know, she is inexperienced. She's, even that scene where she's shown walking, suppose her purse collapses and fell open when she's taking the pictures there, you know?
But that's a standard spy doodad, the person.
I understand. You put your daughter in massive
You're
harm's
right,
way.
yes.
And
because the idea is eventually you're gonna go work for the CIA and you'll be at a desk job or whatever, but in the meantime, go take a picture of these guys and like stay in the car while I shoot this general in the park.
You hear shots go off, you're not gonna come running to your mother? Of course you are. You put her in this, and yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, what really gets me is like, well, Elizabeth is babying Paige about this by not giving her like maybe the full like unguarded truth about all this. It's actually putting her in more danger. And we see this where Paige goes to sleep with the intern, and she's like, I just want to do it. I just want to do it. I thought this would be useful. And then to see Elizabeth take that and twist it and then go after him herself, like when Paige finds out, she is not going to be like, that isn't going to go down well.
And then there's that great scene with Philip where he's like, all right, show me what you got. And there's no pads. Let's just do this.
That was really hard to watch, actually.
Oh but I liked it. I mean, Philip is involved. We see that Philip is threatened by what Henry did with Jason's father or whatever that is. But then he's like, you know, all right, okay, all right. I'll, you know, I mean, you're my son, and I don't want to take you out of the school. And he's respecting his son, and he's, even though Paige is her department, he is staying involved with Paige. That's what that was. And he's going to rescue Elizabeth here. Not that she needs rescuing, but she needs assistance, even though he doesn't want to, so he's coming.
And I think he feels like he owes her after saying no to the Bulgaria thing.
I just think he won't let her, he can tell. Henry called. He said she sounded weird. He knows that means
that she talked to Henry at all. Probably was the.
So he calls, like, you called Henry, something's up, and he can tell that this is a tough one. And so in the end, no matter how he feels, he's not going to let her be at risk.
And at the end, he
doesn't care about the mission. He cares solely about her.
He loves Elizabeth, regardless of what has gone on over the last 6 years of their marriage. He loves her. She is family, and he won't let that go. As we watch Elizabeth let it slip away.
Elizabeth has not spoken to one kid in 3 years, and the other kid she is put in jeopardy of being sexually assaulted or killed at any moment.
Okay, maybe she's worse than Mary. Fine. But of course, then meanwhile, Philip is still leaving notes for Oleg, so presumably, like, he's telling him about Chicago.
The great thing is we don't know. We don't know what he's telling. And Philip probably thinks that what I can do here is both. Like, I can save this, get her out of it, and part of my deal is going to be leave her be, even though we know every spy is probably fine.
Right.
Like no spies are going to get, when they uncover a web of spies, when there is a genuine détente, I imagine everybody.
Yeah, or we'll just swap a bunch of political prisoners or something,
Like the program did.
I love that all of Oleg's like spy material is hidden as aftershave.
Right.
But I now don't think, after what we saw in that brutal, awful murder, right? I mean, she killed the mom. They weren't even supposed to kill the mom, right? You know, and she didn't care. And of course, Elizabeth doesn't know that she's running to the kid. She thinks she's running to the cops, you know, whatever. But I think Elizabeth is done for. Like, she is not. She cannot come back.
There's no redeeming.
There's no redemption here for her. I don't mean they could rebuild the character.
Right.
I think the person that person is done.
I think metaphorically, she, like the Soviet Union, is like the end is near because
they destroyed her. This job destroyed her. Hopefully, it won't. Philip, but Stan is going to get killed by his wife. When he finds out, because Stan now, I mean, the great thing, to me, the best scene, there were so many great scenes, but that moment where Dennis is explaining to Stan about what they've uncovered in Chicago.
The garages and the cars, and then Philip goes to the garage with the car.
The counting, they're like and it's an accounting firm with a couple of employees, like he's going to be like accounting firm, travel agency. And he already had a weird suspicion 6 years ago, right? Or 7, whatever the first, 8 years ago, whatever. So he's gonna,
But that's gonna
There's gonna be a moment,
That's
and
gonna
she's gonna-
destroy Stan though, because him and Philip are best friends.
Yeah.
and
Not for long, because
I
his
know.
wife's going to shoot him in the back of the head.
And he's been something of a surrogate father to Henry too. Let's not forget.
Totally. Oh, and that speech, the Reagan speech, the
Oh.
Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I
Still-
thought it was so, but Dennis is like,
Yeah.
speech, man.
And Paige, I like Paige. Paige almost was conflicted. Like she's like, I just.
everybody.
But you know, that's that Thanksgiving where you go
Yeah.
home and you have to hear that speech about how great the president is. And you're like,
I guess
let's eat. How about we eat? And I'll have another beer, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, great stuff. It needs, obviously, it needs Pastor Tim, but other than that.
Only 4 more.
Is that 4 more? Is that right?
4 more to
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
God, it's ramping up.
All right, guys. We'll be back next week. Thanks for watching.